Working in a sweatshop. That's crazy.
I honestly wouldn't mind.
No? You like that stuff?
I am someone who could do dishwashing as a job. I mean, I've
Why
done
did
it
you get all
before.
this fame?
Let's go.
So there's a lot going on in the world right now. From national politics and global conflicts that affect millions of people, to local issues that affect you and the people close to you. And it's important to be aware and knowledgeable about these issues. But between sensationalist headlines and echo chambers and just straight up misinformation, sometimes it's hard to discern fact from fiction in the news. Thankfully, there's Ground News, an online tool to help you understand the media landscape better. Created by a former NASA engineer, Ground News gathers related articles from more than 50,000 sources from around the world and compares how different outlets cover the same story. Just take a look at this recent story on the cancellation of LGBTQ+ research grants by the Trump administration. It's been covered by more than 81 different sources, with about 17% leaning left, 12% leaning right, but most of it right down the middle. This article from the left-leaning CNN states the Trump administration cancels at least 68 grants focused on LGBTQ health questions, pointing out both the number of grants that were affected as well as the community that was affected. Whereas another article by a right-leaning news source, the New York Post, stated the NIH cuts off $620,000 in funding to prevent pregnancy in transgender boys. Contrary to the previous article, this one is focusing a lot more on the money that is being saved, as well as using a very extreme and misleading example to sensationalize the story. And while some stories may have very different biases like this one, some stories you won't even see at all. Which leads me to the blind spot feature. The blind spot is a feed of news stories which may have little to no reporting by one side of the political spectrum. Such as this story about how the FDA has suspended food safety quality checks after staff cuts, which has only been reported by about 10% of right-wing news outlets. Or this recent partnership between Russia and Iran, which has only been reported by about 12% of left-wing news. And even if there's an obvious bias in certain stories or misinformation, I find that it's still very beneficial to look into other people's echo chambers and help understand why people are feeling a certain way and what may be influencing their worldview. I legitimately believe Ground News is a great tool, and it's something that I used long before partnering with them. Between social media and nonstop news online, it's genuinely stressful just trying to keep up with everything that's happening in the world right now, much less trying to discern what's true or not. But Ground News helps offer a balanced and comprehensive look into what's going on as well as the context so you can stay informed. And if you value that, I recommend going to ground.news/Maddy. By signing up through my link, you'll get 40% off their Vantage plan, the same plan that I use for unlimited access to all their features. Ground News is making a real difference by promoting transparency and diverse opinions in the media. I truly believe in their mission, and I hope you'll give it a try. And now, onto the video. Hi guys, welcome back to Give It To Me Straight, now with more potassium. I'm your host, Maddy Morphosis, and joining me on the show today is the Banana Buddha herself, all the way from season 16, the winner, Nymphia Wind.
Hi, it's me, Nymphia Wind, your favorite banana, and the only banana.
The only banana. Any other bananas
The
are
Slasian
posers.
diva of the bananas, basically.
The original Slasian diva.
Well, I wouldn't say original, but...
You're very soft-spoken today. You're very shy and demure.
Really?
I think
I
so.
guess that's how I usually am, but I don't know if it came across on TV.
Maybe not. I feel you were a little more
Demonic.
your personality was a little bit bigger, but maybe it's just because,
I think it was bigger because, you know how filming is. They always remind you...
I'm adjusting my mic. Don't worry about it.
I thought you were going to pull out something scary and gag me.
No,
My God.
No, you're just out of the banana.
Because, you know, I've had a few interviews and always there's a banana. They'll pull a banana out of somewhere.
I can rest assured today that the bananas you see here are the only bananas present. So, don't look in there. It's not a banana.
There is a banana in there.
It's not a banana. We'll get to it in a moment. Anyway, spoilers for the end of the episode.
Not me just exposing you.
Anyways, coming on the show, you think just because you won the show, you're so entitled. You think you own everything.
Absolutely, I do own everything.
No, you do. Legally, it's in the contract. You own everything.
Yes.
Opulence. But,
I own everything.
But this has been a busy year for you. How has it been? At the time of this filming, you would have just stepped down and finally passed the crown in the scepter on to somebody else. How does it feel to no longer be reigning? Do you feel more relieved or sad?
I feel like coming close to stepping down has made me realize that, you know, it really finally hit me that I won this show, you know. I'm like...
It took you the whole year?
Yeah, it really took me a whole year because I was flying every weekend. There was no time to really feel anything. It was just like gig, plane, bus, gig. And then
Yeah.
you're in every city for like however many hours. So
Yeah, that's why I went home like as early as I did because I was like I don't want all that busyness. I just want
know,
to chill and
right?
relax a little bit.
I want to stay home and
Yeah.
had a little dingy setup
Dingy.
and do interviews.
This is you can't clock any stains
This
on
is
the
a
wall.
one-man show, mama. I know you can't see the backstage, but there's only one person.
Why am I the one getting exposed here today? You're like looking through my drawers, going through things, exposing how the show works.
That was me on set. I was literally like so curious about how everything was shot. I was like looking like where we're not supposed to look, and then like the cameras. I was just like so intrigued and interested in how everything was, made into reality.
Do you have dreams for like content creation or like working in production, things like that? Or you want to go more behind the scenes now that your reign is over?
I would rather just step down, disappear into a mountain of clouds, and just
That's valid. That's fair.
do a poppy.
Yeah. So with the year that you've had, as you said, you've been like traveling around every single weekend, just plane, bus, gig, another plane, another club. Has it been the year you thought it was going to be?
I knew I was gonna be busy, but like, physically going through it is different than actually imagining it. So like before we were announced, I like took the whole year off and just went on vacation before like everything happened. So I could, get a sense of unpublic life before everything went
Right.
public.
So, but with this past year though, like what's been the craziest experience you had as the winner? Was it performing for the president of Taiwan? Was that like the biggest crazy thing?
Honestly, yes. That was the gaggiest, the craziest, because like the president of Taiwan, why would they even notice a drag queen who's
Yeah.
competing in a drag competition? Like that is not something a president should even notice.
Yeah.
They have so much shit on their plate. So I was really gagged.
It's crazy to imagine the president of Taiwan just watching Drag Race at home, you know?
Well, she probably does it. It's her tea.
Well, it's crazy to watch the president of Taiwan's interns watching the episode at home and then telling her about it, you know?
I know.
At the very least, she saw a picture of you beforehand, and that's
I
crazy.
know. The craziest thing is getting to chat with her in private. It was like 5 minutes or something.
Discussing
like,
foreign
just-
policy. You're like, I have ideas.
I know, right? You should implement bananas in every single store. Like that should be a thing.
Yeah.
But honestly, it was just so interesting to see a political figure just like, because it was like the end of her reign. Like she was stepping down. Like
Yeah,
it was the end of her
Yeah.
8-year term, and you just felt like she was able to chat. Because I'm not a political figure. Like usually when they chat, they have to talk so seriously. So it was really interesting to see a different side of her.
Yeah. Just having a key with the president.
Essentially,
Yeah. Well, what's craziest to me about that performance that you did, though, for the president was the venue. It was just kind of at that house.
Dry.
Yeah.
Dry, empty drag brunch vibes.
Yeah. It was very kind of like whenever a kid is like performing for their parents in the living room. Like it's not exactly the stage for it, and it seems like the audience didn't really know how to interact that much.
Yes, it was very that.
Yeah.
But honestly, I am not asking for much because to be able to do that at any presidential house,
They could have rolled out like an electric flower car for you or something, like made it something more of like an event.
that is so true. Why didn't I get a stage?
Yeah, just like nothing too crazy. Just bring out a truck with like fancy lights
We
and
need
everything.
a redo. We need a redo.
Yeah, that actually is like a really interesting aspect of like Taiwanese culture specifically.
Yeah.
For the audience that's not aware, what is a Taiwanese electric flower car?
So they appear on the streets of Taiwan in like
cars
temple
do.
fairs. So they're basically these trucks and they open up and then it becomes into a stage. And people sing karaoke, pole dancing, anything. So like usually in front of the truck is like tables, like banquets, and people are eating, and then there's like karaoke or shows going on. So this is the basic concept of where this electric flower car comes from. So yeah.
Yeah. But the craziest thing about it though is that a lot of times they're used for events like funerals and things.
Yes,
Like-
absolutely.
Like funeral strippers in Taiwan.
They're like used for a very big variety of things. And mama, let me tell you, the temple fairs in Taiwan are fierce, Siana. Because you would have pole dancers fully naked dancing for the gods, mama.
Yeah.
It's just so gaggy. Like religion to our like Western concept is such a conservative thing.
Yeah.
And there you have Taiwan just having nude, sexy women pole dancing
Yeah.
for the gods.
At Papa's funeral.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But speaking like in line with that, It's interesting that they have like this culture of like big celebrations around like death, and you're also someone that like your art and drag is very fun and colorful, but you also have a draw towards like the macabre and death and things like that.
Wow, she really did her research.
Is that like a lot of that? Is it just like you as an individual and your experiences, or is it largely influenced by Taiwanese culture?
I don't know. I think personally I'm very into death. I'm just ready to die at any moment. I mean, living is just another way to find a creative way to just disappear and die, you know? So So I mean, in my performances, I really do like the idea of death because I think everyone goes through it at some point.
Yeah.
And there's really no way of defining if we're actually living or our current state is actually dying because we don't know what's on the other side. Maybe when I die, I'm actually living. Like I'm waking up from this nightmare.
Yeah. Well, whenever you die, it's because you climbed on a bar and slipped, as you do, and the audience will be living. So, you know, it's all
You know,
full
it's the
circle.
verge of life and death, you
Yeah.
know? That's what makes life more
It's just
interesting.
Schrodinger's banana, you know? Is
I
it
mean, it's
alive?
just
Is
like
it
getting
dead?
on a plane every day. You don't know when your plane's gonna crash.
Exactly.
We're like flown around so like every weekend.
Yeah.
What are the percentage that we
Yeah.
just might?
Statistically, yours is higher than most girls because all the other girls can't even get bookings, and you got all of them. So,
To that note, I am very grateful because
Yes.
in this current market, I
know,
am just
it's crazy.
happy.
are you like full like yellowed out in your day-to-day drag too? Or are you a little more harder to clock in your day-to-day?
So
Like if it gets you at the airport, are you full yellow?
I'm usually because my suitcases are all yellow. My room is yellow. I'm dedicated to the color. But sometimes I wear all black. But I have like banana charms, and people will clock me from that banana charm, and then they're like, "Hi, are you Nymphia? I saw your banana, and I thought you were gonna be Nymphia," and they like approach me. So it's really hard like to hide.
You've now put that out in the world, though, that if anybody sees anyone with a banana, or even the color yellow in some cases,
So
they just
banana and
immediately
Asian, they just assume. Stop
Yeah.
Asian hate.
Yeah, stop Asian hate.
They just assume. No, sometimes when they come up to me, I just joke around and be like, wrong Asian.
Not all Asian people covered in bananas are Nymphia.
Exactly.
It's more than likely her, but not all of them.
You have like a 1% chance.
Yeah. It's higher than your chance of dying on a plane, though. So, you know, statistics.
Wait, 1% is higher than dying on a plane?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought dying on a plane would be 10%.
Well, if it crashes, it's a much higher. But I'm saying like percentage-wise of the number of less than 1% of planes go down, you know?
Really?
Yeah, planes are good. This ain't the 50s. They're on top of it. We still have an FAA right now. We may not in the near future. You know,
Well,
Doge might, you know, cut out all that.
we
But
had
for
a-
now, the planes are still mostly staying in the air.
okay, let's pray they stay in the air for
Yeah,
a
you might
few
not pray to
minutes.
go for them to stay in the air because it seems like you almost have like a death wish slightly, just like a slight one, or not a wish, but like you welcome it more than most.
I mean, I'm someone who wants to jump off a plane. You know, when
Skydive?
yeah, skydive.
I'm surprised
I
you
would be
haven't yet.
so scared, but I want to do it.
You should do it in drag like Monet did.
I think try everything once, then decide if you like it or not. I would be so scared. Someone would have to drag me off the plane, but I would still do it.
You should. I mean, as much as like you.
Become a banana split.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and now that your reign is up, you're about to be irrelevant. So
I'll
you got
s- I'll
plenty of
step out.
You have plenty of downtime to go out and do stuff.
Well, hopefully not enough downtime. Please book me.
Yeah. Just begging for scraps. You're sitting there on a street with like a crown on your head, just like bookings, please. Bookings, please.
I live in New York.
Uh-huh.
I could literally go out in the street and look unclockable. I look like well, honestly, I dress out of drag. I do dress like a homeless person.
Yeah. But the bananas still give you away, though. Bananas are rotten.
So
when
it
you're
would be
homeless.
me homeless with a banana peel on the side. Just like,
Just a little brown banana peel.
yes, a rotted one. Just,
That's your drag, and that's valid.
what's your drag?
This, whatever this is. I'm also the banana queen today.
So I know the audience can't see, but I love the leg hair showing through.
Yeah, just like slightly. But like I knew I was gonna be dressed as a banana, so I was like, I'm not wearing a corset and all these tights and everything because the cameras aren't high enough quality to pick it up. But it's just enough to where you can see it. That's for you. That was just for
Thank you. I feel very honored to be able to see Maddy's.
You into like a hairy men, hairy legs? Is that you into stuff like that?
I don't like when I'm sucking someone off and have to go like this.
So you're not you like more like Shaved or at least very
I like
groomed.
shaved or like groomed.
Groomed.
I like it when
Yeah.
it's stubbly.
You don't like a burly man though.
I don't. I.
Like a mountain man in America or something.
That's not my preference.
No.
But if given the only choice, I could still do it.
But you said try anything once.
Mama, I've gone through forests of chest hair, and they're just like thick, and it's like, what am I trying to find here? Where's the nipple?
You got lost in the forest.
No, literally, it's like, it's like.
It's like when they're looking for lice at school. It's like digging through the hair.
Literally, I felt like a
where's the
monkey.
nipple? Like, oh, there's the nipple.
Is that okay, Daddy?
That's crazy.
Oh my god.
Oh, well, we digress.
Well, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Have you always been straight? Are you
have,
bi
yeah.
or like just straight?
Always been straight. Well, like there was a time where like I questioned my sexuality just because I was drawn to a lot of feminine aspects and things. But I never felt that attraction towards men. I never felt the way about men that I felt about women. Oh. Yeah.
How long have you been doing drag?
Oh, gosh, like
The interview of Maddy Morphosis.
yeah, I think like 8 years now, something like that. It's been a while.
How did you even start into this whole?
That's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole.
Because Mama, I am thinking about quitting. Drag is just too much.
It is a lot. It's a lot.
It is too much.
Yeah.
This is why I was late today. I was struggling to get myself together. I was just like giving up. But you know, I came through.
We don't have enough time to go through my entire history in drag because you have a gig later on. So we
Is
gotta
it a
get through
scary long history?
I don't want to say scary long, but it's a lot of nuance, a lot of storytelling. It's a life.
But what was your first drag experience?
First drag experience?
Like
First
the
drag
first
experience or
thing you
dressing
saw?
up experience?
So
Or first time
you dressed
seeing
up
drag.
first before you saw drag.
Yeah, I was on a whole like gender journey.
So
and
are you
everything.
a sissy boy?
No, I'm not. There might have been like a time where you might have considered me as such. I don't know,
So
there's
you're
different-
just
there's
very
different
fluid.
labels. I guess so.
I love that. You love exploring.
Yeah. Or yeah, it was just like find out what it all means. I
To
was
be
very,
straight.
Kinda. Like it was like doing drag
Am
and
I a
doing all
straight
this.
banana or am I actually bent?
Yeah, it's like curved
So-
banana.
I don't know if you say like curved means gay. So in Asia, if you're like straight, like we call it zde, it means you're a straight man. But like wanda, which is curved,
curved.
You're like.
Is that
gay.
just like a fun adjective or is that a slur?
I wouldn't say it's a slur. It's just an adjective. Another way of saying gay and straight.
Yeah.
And then 1 is top and 0 is bottom.
Ones and zeros.
Yeah,
It's very
ones-
binary.
Is it?
Ones and zeros? Yeah.
I thought 1 and 0. How's that binary?
What would you know about that?
Oh,
What would you know about
binary.
that?
Oh, I thought you said non-binary.
No. The binary.
I was like, how is that non-binary? That was pretty typical, just the.
yeah, ones and zeros.
Anyway.
But again, we digress.
Or 0 and 0.
That,
2s and 1s.
Twos? What
No,
are the
2s and
twos?
0s. I love a 2 and 0 moment.
okay, anyway. But enough about me and non-binaries and ones and twos. But back to you. So you grew up in Taiwan. Before that, you lived in Hong Kong.
Wait,
Up
have you
until-
actually like met a drag queen where you're like, oh my god, I could fuck with that?
What do you mean?
Because they're so unclockable, so womanly, you're just like turned on.
Unclockable? Not like a drag queen, no.
You've never seen a drag queen in your life where you're like, my juju's coming up.
No. Well, even like there's like some drag queens that are like very beautiful, but I still see like the queen there. I don't know. But I think if
Maddy hates the queens.
yeah, you heard it here first. I think if I wasn't exposed to drag, if I was just a straight guy back in Arkansas, then I might have been more attracted to like some queens.
Because you like
But-
work in drag.
Yeah, but because like I'm in drag, I know all the tips and tricks. I know little things that I see. So like
You know the art of tucking.
I guess so. But yeah, I can tell when it's like a queen and it's like a costume and
You like realness.
realness. Yeah. Or just like a different brand of fakeness. Just drag isn't the fakeness for me.
True.
Yeah.
We're all living a fake life.
But back to you. You grew up in Hong Kong, you were about 6 or so, then you moved to Taiwan. It was because of a bullying you experienced is why you moved, wasn't it? Or was it something else?
I think my parents moved for work. That's why we moved back to Taiwan.
Oh, so it was for work that you moved. But it was changing schools was because of the bullying, though.
Yes. So if you ask my mom, she would have this whole story of how the teacher was bullying me. But when you asked me, I was like, was I? I mean, I would remember the memories, but like to be honest, I didn't feel like I was bullied. I guess logistically I was, but maybe I just like suppressed the memory. I don't know.
Or maybe,
But we did move school because I was bullied.
or maybe too, it's like you were just too young to really notice.
Probably.
Because like 6 is a very young age. Like 6, you don't know what's going on. When I was
Yeah.
6 years old, I didn't even know the days of the week.
And you couldn't tell if you were straight or not, too.
Well, that was after.
I find it interesting when you look at some kids, you can instantly tell if they're gonna be straight or gay.
Sometimes,
It's
yeah.
just so weird. Like it's just like they're born with it.
There's definitely some kids that are a little, they're lighter in the loafers, is an American saying. Light in the loafers. Sugar in their tank.
Like light in the shoe. Like,
It's just an expression. Yeah, very like flighty. Like, It's an
Oh.
American saying. Light in the loafers, a little sugar in the tank.
sugar in the tank. Where's the tank? The ass.
I,
So the tank like
I
shakes.
think it's a metaphorical tank, but
So what would the straight equivalent be?
well, I mean, if
Salt in the tank.
salt in the tank, gas in the tank, I don't know,
Bland in the tank.
bland in the tank, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it is what it is. You know, straightness is kind of boring. I acknowledge it. It is what it is.
You're a very progressive straight man.
Thank you. I like to think so. I hope so. I better be. I better be doing all this. I better be.
I know.
But the school you went to, it said it was a holistic school. What does that mean exactly?
So it's basically, I don't even know what holistic means.
Yeah,
I
I
know-
saw people saying experimental school as well.
Yeah, it's a experimental school, and what it's so holistic because it's Mandarin, it's translated in holistic, but it's trying to. The name of the school is basically a full person. You know, how do you build or how do you educate a person into its own fullness? So basically, the school you could decide if you want to go into class or not, and then you could skip class if you don't feel like going to. So it's not your typical school, and then it was like boarding school, and then we were like brought up in the mountains. So I grew up with trees, and I'm just aloof.
They just kind of let the kids do whatever they want.
Yeah,
You were a free range child.
basically. So the idea is you want them to initiate their own education. So if they don't feel like it, just let them explore.
What happens if a kid just isn't interested?
Yeah, they'll stay uninterested. You know, some people go through life just wanting to be a plankton.
But like, I don't know. I guess
It's just a
whatever
very.
works. I
'Cause,
mean,
you know,
it works for some kids. Obviously, like you turned out very well. But I'm just like curious about the other kids. As an American, it's a hard concept to wrap my head
Because
around.
I think Americans and Asians are similar in the sense that society tells that we have to be productive, we have to aim for a goal in life, we have to have a career. But when you really think about it, we're gonna die eventually. Like, do we actually need to strive for something? Like, or like in sacrifice of our own happiness and our own fulfillment, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I agree with that aspect, but I don't know, the idea of just let the kids do what they want, because it's like strive for happiness, but also like you want to be comfortable at least and have a job and be able
That's
to
true.
afford things.
but have you never heard the saying that people who are successful in life had D's or F's at school because they're creative and they like think out of the box?
Yeah. But
So, like, you
your
let them-
class, some kids didn't have grades at all because they just didn't go.
That is true.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying everyone's gonna be successful.
Yeah.
It's like if everyone's successful, then who's gonna serve my food in the diner, right? Like there's gonna people. I just think that everyone has their experience in life, and we can't expect everyone to have the same experience. That's just the way of life.
Yeah. So like what kind of kid were you in this school? Like what were you doing? What were the choices you were making?
Climbing trees. I mean, I still went to class. I was always with the girls. And I was probably the only first male to ever live, because it's like separated dormitory, like boys and girls. I think I was, because I looked very adorable and cute, so I was seducing everyone for being so cute. So all the older kids, because it's from 11 years old to like 18 years old, we're all like together, and there's only like 80 people in school, so everyone kind of knows each other. So I was like hanging out with the older kids. So I think everyone around me could tell I was gay, but like I couldn't tell I was gay because I wasn't technically bullied for being gay, so I was never made to feel different. So there was no concept of, oh my God, I have to come out, I'm not allowed to be gay in my mind. So I never thought about the gayness in me. But I was always like hanging out with my girlfriends, and then we were like watching soap operas, and then we would be fawning over the boys. So it was pretty obvious I was a gay kid.
Yeah. Was it because of this kind of school you went to? Is that why you weren't bullied as much as
Yeah,
if
I
you
think
were in a
so.
public school?
I think so. Because it was a more experimental school, and then everyone was just there to chill. And yeah, I think maybe their parents are cooler. Because I feel like a lot of kids, they learn their actions from their parents, in
Yeah.
a sense.
That's cool though that you were able to find a school. Like, did your mom know that that's the kind of school? Was it because she knew you might have been gay that she sent you to that kind of school, or was it just your
I think
personality?
she just wanted to try something different for me because I was just bullied by a few teachers. So she said, "Do you want to try this?" And I said, "Yeah, let's go try." So we went to the school enrollment or whatever, what do you call them? The interview process. So basically, back then, to get into the school, you would have to pick a little what do you call those things? Sticks in a
Oh, it's like almost like I guess
like a
like
lottery essentially.
yeah, like you're pulling straws.
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah, yeah. So I pulled a straw and I got in. That's how I got
That's
it.
crazy. It's like a
It
lottery
was
system for this.
crazy. It's a weird system.
That's wild that like you if you had chosen like a different stick, you might not be
Yeah,
here
yeah,
today.
I would be so
You would
different.
have had a very different experience
Because
in
that
life.
school definitely helped me in terms of developing what I was into and really having space to explore the full extent of my creativity.
It's interesting. That's crazy.
I know, life could be so different just by one little move.
Yeah. Here, it's just in America, it's like you either go to public school, if your parents have money, they go to a private school, and that's about it.
There are experimental schools out here in America.
Are there?
There
I wonder if there was whenever I was a kid. Probably not in the state I was from, but
I
maybe.
think they're in New York. I don't remember the name.
I know there's like art schools and like more art focused schools and stuff.
I think there's a system for what these kind of schools are called. They're like democracy schools. So basically, in my school, and I think a lot of experimental school, you get to vote as a student. You get to vote what is implemented into the policies of the school.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wish I went to a school like that. I'm all jealous now. Got the inmates running the asylum. That's crazy. You say you were hanging out like the girls all the time and stuff like that. Did you like have any interaction like with the boys, or did you really just kind of stick with the girls?
I think I mainly just sticked with the girls. It was just really hard for me to vibe with anyone who is masculine. Till this day, I'm still scared.
Yeah.
I see a burly drag queen. I'm just like, distance. Oh my
Did
god.
that make it difficult for you whenever you were doing pit stop with Monet, having to be in front of all that masculine energy?
It was so hard.
a
I was
struggle.
gagging internally. I was like, choking Monet.
Yeah, but so one of your first performances, or some of your earliest performances in drag, if you would even call it that, was like doing like dances with the girls in middle school.
Oh my
right?
god! You went through Facebook, you.
Is it you in the front?
Yes,
I
this
think I
is,
have a video. With a little photo right there. There's little
is-
you in the front there, just hanging out with all the girls.
We were called Nine Generation. It
Uh-huh.
was a reference to
Girl
Girls'
Generation.
Generation. This
What-
is amazing.
But as you mentioned, but because of your school and the way it was, like no one really even gave you like sideways glances about it or anything.
No,
Which one of these is you?
the red one.
The red one, the tall one in the front?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
tall one.
Well, you were taller. Yeah, you're like in like little outfit and
I was
stuff
the
like
little cross-dresser CDT.
Yeah.
mama. She was giving tea, boots, unclockable realness for sure down, mama. By the way, the makeup, ooh, girl, natural features only.
So is that when you first started to get your desire to perform for people?
You know what I used to say when I was younger? I was like, I don't like people who put on a lot of makeup. Because I always thought they were fake and unnatural.
And they are
And look at me now.
fake and unnatural.
Yes, exactly. But I think that was like my first, I wouldn't say drag, but definitely more cross-dressing and then playing with gender. I feel really grateful to be able to grow up in an environment where I wasn't bullied for that or made to feel different. Like everyone just saw me as, you know, the flamboyant, aloof one. So it was pretty nice that I wasn't bullied for it. But actually, when I was younger, I was bullied for being a sissy. And my
When you were
peers...
before you went to the school.
Yeah, before I went to this school, they would call me CC Lemon. So we have a drink called CC Lemon, and it's basically a vitamin C lemon drink. And they call me CC Lemon because I was a sissy.
Oh, Cece like sissy.
Yeah, and they were all like,
And lemon because you only wore yellow. That makes sense.
I wasn't a yellow kid back then. Well, yellow, but not a yellow kid. But they were all my like boyfriends. Like they were like my male friends. Like I used to only have male friends and a few girlfriends, but like the people who bullied me were like my actual friends.
There was like a Facebook status I remember seeing where it's like something you dressed up as for Halloween, and there was a guy in your comments and that was saying that you looked like a girl, and you said all cap you. So obviously it was something that
I said that.
you weren't. Yeah, you were. It's not something you wanted to be called. So even though you were being a little more feminine, them saying it to you obviously affected you a little bit differently.
Oh.
At least you seemed upset.
But it also could be because my mentality was like I thought saying you was funny.
Oh, maybe so.
But I don't know because I don't remember leaving that comment, so I can't really give you anything.
Yeah, it was years ago, a long time ago.
That was so long ago. Facebook was a different world. Do you remember when Facebook started? Pet Society, Restaurant City.
Yeah.
Those were my jam.
I was doing the research on you. I was deep diving through your
You
Facebook.
saw my Pet Society album.
No, I can't see anything Pet Society, but all I see, because like they kind of things go away after a while, but I see a bunch of blank Facebook statuses that just say Pet Society, and it's like a whole year of your Facebook that just says Pet Society.
Mama,
and
I
stuff.
was militarying the whole game. I logged into like 10 of my other girlfriends' account and then played Pet Society. I was that diva. I was trying to get all the bonuses from like sending friend requests.
You were grinding.
I was grinding.
You were grinding.
Sister, I was crazy.
But going from like these little dance numbers at school to actually performing in the drag scene in Taiwan, when did that get started for you? When did this girl start getting her big break? When did this...
I hate you. You are pulling up all my CDTs.
Like, when
Mama, not my cross-dressing era.
When-
Okay, that was that was in the UK. So UK was
Okay.
a very important process of my journey to becoming this.
Yeah.
That was when I was very cross-dressy. I had long hair to my waist, and
When you had like the little bangs.
yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, I am just appalled by the things you have seen on Facebook. But yeah, I guess that was my entryway into the drag world. And then I like started performing after I graduated and went back to Taiwan. And then after I served in the fire brigade, I was just like texting the drag queens who were performing in Taiwan, because back then they only had 2 parties every month that had drag queens. And then I was like messaging them like, can I perform? And they were like, yeah, come through this month. And then I went to a drag lip sync competition where I won. And that's where I basically started my drag lip syncing journey, or
But-
like performing.
So it wasn't actually in Taiwan that you started your drag career. It was more
Yeah.
like in the UK when you first started to dabble in the drag scene.
I would say in the UK was where I like started exploring. It's like I started with like the first foundation I bought was white. I was basically trying to paint like a geisha. And then it was everything white, and it slowly made its way into drag. And then in Taiwan, I would say is where I actually got more serious and then like really went for the drag, and that's where I would say my career started.
Yeah. But as you said, there wasn't a whole lot of opportunities
Yeah.
in Taiwan. Because Taiwan, for those that don't know, Taiwan is not a super big island.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's it's like smaller than New York. It's
It
the
is.
size of like West Virginia or something. It's not very big.
tiny.
Yeah. Is there like with having such a big culture of like entertainment there, why do you think there wasn't such a big drag scene at that time?
To be honest, I don't think the entertainment industry in Taiwan is that fierce. It's not really that developed. So in Taiwan, they don't really
You
appreciate.
are reading those funeral strippers.
Well, it's a different form of entertainment.
Right.
Like they don't really appreciate the arts. I think that really comes down to education. So I think what's interesting about Taiwan drag is there's this sense of education and really wanting to spread the word of the art form of drag, because the general public thinks drag queens are cross-dressers or like trans girls. Like they don't have the concept of what drag is. So currently in Taiwan, the drag scene is really pushing in terms of educating people on what drag is. So that's what I find interesting about Taiwan drag.
That's interesting.
Damn, I need to remember this. I have to use this for interviews.
Yeah, definitely. You can take
You heard
with
it
you.
here first.
Yeah.
You got the
Or
first time
if anyone has
exclusive.
something even remotely close to it, just be like, go check out my interview, give it to me straight. I talk about it.
Sure.
But it is interesting because like a lot of like Eastern Asian countries, they do have like a large like presence in drag. You know, like even if it's different than like the United States, I figured Taiwan would have had more of like a prevalent drag culture. But it's
I would
interesting.
say in Asia, the biggest drag scenes are Philippines and Thailand. And China is like very underground. There are like drag queens being handcuffed in that country.
Yeah, I was excluding China because I know they're doing their own thing over in China. They got
Sister.
a whole nother can
I
of
know
worms over
South
there.
Korea, it's still very shunned upon and it's still pretty small and
Really?
developing. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And Japan, it's limited, but it's growing as well. I think everywhere in Asia, drag is growing, but it's like, it's like starting off. And I think Taiwan, I would say, is pretty developed in comparison to the other countries. But Thailand is like really,
Yeah.
because like it's really blended with transness and drag.
It's interesting to me that Taiwan is still kind of catching up in the drag aspect, considering the fact that it is one of the more socially progressive Asian countries. Because it was like the first one to legalize gay marriage, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So proud of my country. I think what it is, because drag actually has been existing for years in Taiwan, but in a different form. It's like more showgirly and like show tunes. It's basically more showgirly kind of drag. But I think the modern drag or like American drag in Taiwan is now like having its popularity and people are knowing about drag more nowadays.
it's like having its renaissance
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah. So I think like drag has always existed. I think like everywhere around the world. It's just like in different forms.
Yeah. Do you think it's close to the point now where we can expect like a Drag Race Taiwan anytime soon? Or do you think it's still a little further down the road?
Honestly, I think Taiwan's way too small. I would rather see
small?
like a Drag Race Asia. You know when
Yeah.
they did America's Next Top Model Asia? Something like that.
Yeah. I don't know, but if they do more specifically to Taiwan, like you can host it and you can kind of like help those girls, help that island, because it still has like over like 20 million people. It's got a lot of people. I'm sure there's a lot of young little aspiring queens in that
That is
island.
true. I guess that would be fun.
Because they have like Drag Race Philippines. Philippines is smaller than Taiwan, isn't it?
No,
Is it not?
Philippines is way bigger.
Is it? How much bigger is it?
Stop Asian hate.
It's not Asian hate. It's
know your geography.
geographical ignorance.
No, I think
I went to
Philippines.
school in America. They don't teach us about other countries.
It's crazy the education system here.
I know. We didn't get to climb trees all day. We just had to learn misinformation. But so like, how did you really break into the scene though? As you mentioned, you're just kind of reaching out to places you knew were doing drag things. Like, how'd you really get going?
I think because it's so small and everyone kind of knows each other, it's just a very small community. Kind of just, so I kind of like just asked around. I think they saw like some photos of me and were like, "You're sickening. Okay, come perform." So I think at that point I was like booked every month at least. Like every month I had a gig. So I think that was good. And then like slowly throughout the years, like there was more gigs, like turned into maybe 3 nights a month and then to like every week and then like now Wednesday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah. You say slowly throughout the years, but it was actually pretty quick, your drag journey. Because
Yeah, actually not throughout the years. Actually just a few years.
yeah, like you started just kind of like dabbling a little bit and then going out to some of the shows, and it was just a couple years later you get on Drag Race, which we'll talk about like the journey of that and everything. But it happened really quickly for you.
So I guess the drag scene in Taiwan really grew with my own drag
You did that.
journey. Well, I would say we did that.
Yeah.
I don't want to
it was all-
take credit.
It was all you. You were their Sherpa up the mountain of drag. Like you did that.
I would say my wind did help shine light to the
You were the
drag scene.
wind. You were the Nymphia Wind beneath their wings. You heard it here first.
Wow, I feel so honored.
Yeah.
Such a heavy weight on my shoulder.
With these drag shows you're doing, if anyone's been to a show and seen you perform, they've probably seen you climbing up on banisters and bar tops and stuff like that. When did you start doing that? Like start climbing on things during
I don't know. I
performances?
feel like when I think of a number, I'm really inspired by the space. Like I like to feel the space, see the space, and know where the space can take me, and then like give them an element of surprise. But also, I walk around to distract them from the fact that I'm not dancing or moving. Because I think walking around is just a good distraction. I'm up personal with them, really close, but also it's just like my back hurts. Can I just walk around, please?
Yeah, like other queens are looking at a stage. They're like, how can I really take over this whole square footage? And you're looking off at the banisters. You're like, can that hold a human body?
Because also, you want to make it interesting for yourself.
Have you had any mishaps, like falling off bars, balconies, and things during performances?
I have. I fell off a bar.
When did that happen?
And no one caught me. They like looked at me fall.
Oh,
But I survived because there was actually like humans behind me. So
they
like,
broke your fall.
They
That's
they,
good.
they broke my fall.
Yeah.
I think every time I fell down or like tripped, like people assume it's on purpose because I fall in such a way that it's like it feels purposeful. But mama, I have some fierce falls, and I put that in my audition tape. So they ask you for like your talents, and then I just put like clips of me falling on stage. Because I felt like I fell really like gracefully and really.
Yeah. A bunch of Drag Race casting people watched a video of a girl falling repeatedly and said, "That's America's next drag superstar."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's how you can tell by the way they fall.
They're like, it looks almost like she meant to do that. That's our
A
winner.
winner right there.
That's a winner.
No, my weirdest fall really gagged me. I like walked out on stage. Where's all the snot coming from? I can't talk anymore.
It's an emotional conversation. People cry on this show.
I'm like, oh, Maddy, you're just pulling so much depth out of me. I just never talked about all these stuff in so many years, and it's just like thinking about it's getting me so emotional.
It's okay, mama. Let it out.
So I walked out and took like 3 steps and instantly went like this.
Oh,
Like I went on my knee. Like
your legs collapsed?
it felt like some top was pushing my shoulders down onto my knees. I just like randomly fell, like out of nowhere. I wasn't tripped. I just like went on my knees.
You still don't know why?
I don't know why. I was performing Lady Gaga's 911.
Maybe you have an iron deficiency.
Is there iron in banana?
I think so. It's potassium. But I think they're good for like iron and stuff. Pretty sure. Yeah, maybe you have an iron deficiency. Or
Can we
you're
get
anemic
a
or something.
sponsor from bananas?
Have you not got one yet? Chiquita Banana hasn't reached out to you or anyone?
I have reached out to Chiquita. Guess what they said?
What'd
We're
they
not
say?
currently looking for any ambassadors.
It's the political climate right now.
That was last year.
Well, yeah, you should get a banana sponsor or something.
I should. I think I'm gonna. My dream is to own a piece of land where I could build a banana temple. And it's not a place of worship. It's just a place to put stuff.
It's a storage facility.
Essentially.
It's just a storage.
Just like a museum or like a banana museum or like banana objects. But yeah, it would be so cute.
Yeah, it's do you ever see that like art piece where an artist went into a museum and just duct taped a banana to the wall
Yeah.
and everyone thought it was an art piece? That's your drag.
I have that on my room door.
Do
I
you?
taped a bunch of bananas.
See, you're such an artist. Other drag queens are playing checkers. You're playing chess. You're too big brain. They just don't get it. They just don't understand.
Honestly, I love the concept, but I hate that it's sold for so much money. It's just like for no reason. But I do understand the concept, whatever. But like, it's just like rich people. I can't even. They just have nothing else to buy. They just decided to buy into a concept. They didn't buy the banana. They bought the concept from the artist.
I know.
And they ate the banana after they had gotten the banana. I mean, work. Nothing really matters, right?
I guess not. Some people don't take art seriously enough. But I get it. I get you. Anywho. Yeah, as you're doing
I
this,
want
like
6 million.
Huh?
Should I make a banana art myself and auction it off for 6
you should. You should. Just advertise it, be like Nymphia's used banana. Don't tell people how it's used. Just say used banana
And it's a
And someone will buy it.
banana-shaped dildo.
or something. It's just a banana. It's just a regular banana.
Yum.
Used banana, and then we'll let people use their imaginations and throw their money at it.
It's just like a slight
Let the market-
reflection of moistness.
Yeah, let the market decide how much that banana's worth. But when you started your drag journey, you said you moved to Brooklyn to challenge yourself more in drag. Is that the real reason you came over to the U.S.? Was just the drag?
It was that, but I think I was at that point scared to admit that I was trying to apply for Drag Race. I was like secretly like 10%, maybe 15 trying to try out for Drag Race to see what will happen. But I didn't have any like high expectations.
Yeah. So you also went to Brooklyn. Like New York is one of the most expensive cities to live in.
I know, it was
And you were just wanting to do drag. What was like your plan if drag wasn't taking off for you?
Okay, so initially I was gonna move in 2020, but the pandemic happened, so I was just in Taiwan chilling. And then like 2022, I like felt this voice saying to me that this is the year. It is time to move. Fly away, my little bird. Fly to America, the land where dreams come true. So anyway, I only consider moving to America because I have the passport, and then Taiwan, you can only do so much. Like you plateau at a certain point because there's just not much options for you to develop your career. So I thought coming to America would be a good opportunity to really develop my drag career. And then I don't know why I chose New York because I felt like, well, I do know why. I chose New York because I felt like that was the most cultured place in the States.
It was kind of like the most like blend of people.
Yeah, it had more shock, I guess. I think what other city than New York to really challenge yourself?
LA maybe.
Oh, I hate the sun.
You hate the sun. You're from an island.
That's
Island
why
nation.
I left it. To escape the sun.
You're like island paradise, and you're like, I need to go to a cold, damp city that smells like
I
pee.
do love the cold. If I could, I would live in Iceland.
I mean, you can move there.
I would.
You can do it. Nothing's
One
stopping
day.
you.
One day
What's
when I'm
drag scene like there.
when I'm not famous and just a trash
Oh,
by
you
the
think you're
world.
famous?
Forgot it. No, I'm a public figure. I'm sorry. I said famous because it was easier. But as a public figure, one day I'm going to fade away. And until that day, I will stay in America and earn as much as I can.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to be faded away by the time this comes out because the new girl will have taken over the mantle.
I know.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
So, like, if drag didn't work out for you, would you have just moved back to Taiwan? Would you try a different city? Like, what was the backup plan?
I never really thought about that. I never had a backup plan.
I'm just floating, and it's going to carry me where it's going to carry me.
Yeah, truly. I mean, I'm here now.
Yeah, you made it.
I did. Give it to me straight.
Yeah.
I made it in life. I came on this show that I've been wanting to do for so long.
Dreams come true.
I did that.
Shoot for the stars.
No, honestly, sometimes you just gotta go for it. Stop the thinking and just go for it. I know it's hard to do in practice, but mentally you gotta have that mentality of just going for it. Because you don't know if you don't try, right?
Yeah. But as you mentioned, you manifested it because you went there. You're like, I'm just going to take this chance. You moved, to get the date right here, you moved to Brooklyn in late 2022, like August or so.
Yes.
Drag Race auditions came around November, December.
December.
You put in a tape, get on, film a few months after that, and win the show.
I know,
Like
actually,
it moved so fast.
I know. Actually, thinking about it, like it's actually like wild. So like August and then December, I put in my tape, and then January got the call, and then you go through the process, and then April I was like, oh my god, I haven't heard back from them for a month, and I was feeling like, oh my god, maybe I didn't make the show.
Yeah.
So, but I went back to see my audition tape. I was like, you know what?
You saw little views going up.
No, like I saw the views and stuff, but like I saw the audition tape just to get a sense of what they were seeing. I was like, there is no way they're not gonna pick me. This is their best chance at a different kind of Asian queen. So like I knew what I was presenting and what I was giving them and what they could do with me. And there was no way they were not going to cast me after I saw the audition tape. And then after a few days after seeing the audition tape, I was like, oh my god, I'm not going to be picked. I'm not going to be picked. I'm not going to get it. But anyway, I was like, you know what? There's nothing I could do. The only thing I could do is just continue with my life. And then I was really continuing with my life. I was shitting one day after work. I was in the office bathroom. And then I see this call from California. I was like, this is definitely Wow Presents. I pick up while I was taking the shit, and they're like, hi, do you have a moment? I was like, yes. Are you alone? Yes. I just wanted to come say that you're casted for Drag Race Season 16. I was like, thank you. Oh my god. But yeah, anyway. I took a photo of the shit. Just for memories.
Did you?
I did.
Well, we'll put that on the screen right now for you guys for a piece of history.
It was covered in tissue, and you see a few brown spots.
Yeah, I guess, save the moment, I suppose.
No, literally, that was
know,
what I was thinking. I wanted to save the moment.
Some people, they, take a little video of them getting the call or take a picture afterwards, but
I took a shit.
it's how we preserve the memories is,
That is wild.
we're all on our own different journeys. The winner of Drag Race, everybody.
Took the call while taking
You
a
know,
shit.
Asian Queen Solidarity, Rock'em Sakura, was also taking a shit when she got the call for Drag Race.
Is this an Asian thing now?
Yeah, she said she was douching, and she just psh, the
Mama,
water.
she was douching. I was actually a functioning human. She was trying to clear out. She was trying to function for someone else.
Yeah. But yeah, you were functioning for yourself. And that's why you won and she didn't. She's too busy focusing on others. You focused on yourself and your future and your dreams. That's what matters.
Exactly, kids. Only shit for yourself, not for anyone else.
But with how fast everything happened, as you said, like you just kind of just now started to process like the whole past year. Are you glad with how quickly things happened, or do you feel like it went too fast for you?
I mean, everyone says this, but everything happens at the right timing. Everything did happen so fast. That's why when I got on the show, everyone was like, oh my God, Nymphia's a New York queen. I didn't even feel like, I mean, before like I
You were there for like 2 months.
literally, like, I mean, I was getting like a gig every month at least, but I was like still working and trying to figure out my life in New York, like how I'm gonna settle here. I was still trying to like look for work and all that.
You
And
didn't,
then
even, you didn't even have the boxes unpacked yet.
yeah, no, like for real, like I was still like mentally still unpacked, and then like now I'm representing New York, which was kind of crazy. So like I didn't feel like I felt like a New York queen in a sense, because I didn't feel like I really like mingled enough to know everyone.
Yeah. Did you feel any kind of animosity with the New York queens? Of people being like, she's not a New York queen.
Actually, I was so surprised how nice everyone was.
Really?
Because I feel like New York as a city is so tough. Everyone just tries to be nice to each other. Mama, I have not had so many rage problems living in this city, Mama. The times I have been so mad living in New York is unbelievable.
Even with all the blessings that you've been given, you're still this angry, bitter.
You know what? I
Mad
am.
individual.
I am. I went to the break room the other day. Sister, Mercury retrograde has done a number on me.
Oh my
I
gosh.
was in desperate need of a break room, and Mama, it was fierce. It was very fierce.
With the whole journey, though, you're now coming to an end. Like everything happens so quickly, and things are like there's no shade to you, but like the journey is probably going to slow down a little bit. Like the bookings are still going to be there. You're still a winner. You still have that popularity, but it's not going to be as fast paced as it has been this past year. Where do you want to go from here?
Where do I want to go from here? I mean, after stepping down, I think I really want to go into producing shows, because I have like produced a few shows in Taiwan where it's really combining traditional culture with drag, and I'm really interested in that. And like, how do we preserve and conserve traditional craft? So like I have a few ideas of things revolving around traditional craft, maybe like working with like traditional artists that work in a specific craft and then
You
making
mean
an
like
outfit.
handmade, like artisans and
Yeah.
things like that?
You know how like people, I don't know, let's say like bamboo knotting into a basket.
Basket weaving.
Yeah,
or
basket weaving. Or
charm
like,
bracelets. I know how.
Wow, that
I
is
I could be a part of your thing.
that is truly an ancient craft to the T, Mama.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like as a young age, I've always felt sad that, some craft are like disappearing because it's so time consuming. No one wants to learn them.
Is there a particular craft you'd like to preserve that you see kind of waning away?
The one I can think of so far is like kimono making, because like it's such a process in terms of dyeing the fabric,
Like
the paint,
authentic kimonos.
yeah, the hand painting that goes into it, like all the designing. Like there's so much that goes into it, and that is in a sense a dying craft because it's just so expensive and people can't buy into that anymore because of like fast fashion or like fast everything, industrialization. So there's a few options I want to do after winning, but.
Yeah.
We'll start slow, I have to remind myself that things happen in time. You don't have to always expect them to happen right now.
Yeah. But as we mentioned before, like you are also someone that handcrafts things. You're a fashion designer. Like you know how to make garments and make them well. Is that something you see yourself doing in the future, or is drag what you really plan to keep doing forever?
I don't think I could keep bucking for the rest of my life.
You haven't started. What you mean?
Fuck you. Have you ever bugged, bitch?
No, but I've never said I bugged either.
No, I felt like I don't think drag is something I could do physically for that long. It is actually very tiring. But I don't know, I probably wouldn't open a brand, but if I did, it would probably be more a couture house. I'm more interested in that rather than creating a whole brand. I don't want to make shit for other people. I want to make
No?
shit for meaningful causes, I guess.
Like, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean by make stuff for a cause?
What do I mean by that?
Yeah. Like you
I don't know.
like knitting sweaters for Make-A-Wish kids? Like, what does that mean?
I guess like to what I said earlier, like preserving a craft or like
Oh, okay.
things or that, or like things that are more slow paced. Not necessarily only like making stuff for a cause, but like making stuff at a slower pace. Because you know that like costs a lot of money, but
Yeah.
more couture, I guess.
That's awesome.
Because I think when I was younger, I was dreamed of working at a couture house, just embroidery and just hand stitching my life away, growing old and just
Now you're just dreaming of working in a sweatshop. That's crazy.
yeah.
You're just sitting all day just beating things and...
I honestly wouldn't mind.
No? You like that stuff?
I am someone who could do dishwashing as a job. I mean, I've
Why
done
did you
it
get all
before.
this fame? You're the one person that would have been happy working a regular job.
I like it because it's just like something that doesn't require my brain. If I'm gonna work for someone, they don't get my brain. They can have my physical body.
Okay.
They can have my physical like work. I could do physical work. But if they need my brain, then it's a
Yeah.
no. Like
That's in your writer for your contract.
Yeah.
People book you.
Like-
It's like 2 numbers, meet and greet, no brain.
Exactly.
That's in the contract.
if I work for someone else, I don't want to work using my brain, you know? Because I don't want it to die.
Same.
Am I making sense?
I think so.
So like dishwashing is a job that you just, you know.
Just mindless.
And then I could think about something else. I could think about a design while I'm washing dishes.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So wherever you go, you're gonna be living in your own internal fantasy world, and that's where
Kind
your
of.
happiness.
I am constantly working. This brain does not shut off. I'm always thinking about the next project.
Fast forward 5 years from now, you're gonna be living in your damp, cold, dingy New York apartment, dishwashing at some restaurant, and you're gonna be happy, content. That's
You know
we
what?
can
If
look
it came
forward
to that,
you'd be fine.
I guess I can only accept my fate.
You're gonna be just washing dishes. Just
Surrender.
I performed for the president once. just
That's how
soaking it
Keanu
up.
Reeves feels, no?
Huh?
Reeves?
Keanu Reeves? What? Why him? What do you mean?
Because he's hobo-ish.
Is he?
Kind of. He just goes around
I
doing...
see him like eating like his
dish.
sandwich in the park and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure he's got a nice house. I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe you know a little more about Keanu Reeves.
I don't... Like, I meant in the sense of doing pedestrian stuff.
Oh, okay.
As someone who's done, like, crazy movies, you know?
You just want to go. You just want to be a normal person. You had all this taste of fame and had a crazy life. You're ready to be a normal person.
I want to
now.
experience what it's like to disappear.
It's like whenever Michael Jackson rented out a whole grocery store so he can pretend to shop like a normal person. That's gonna be you.
He did that.
Yeah, it's like a thing he did. You just want to feel like you're normal for a day.
I mean, at that level of fame, I guess really, really try that. That's crazy that you had to rent out.
I can't imagine. I can't even imagine as famous as you. I
But
can't
he should
imagine
also
that.
hire like a few like actors to like
He
play.
did.
Oh, he did?
He did.
They really thought this through
Yeah,
because like
they-
if you're just shopping alone, it would feel so
Yeah,
weird.
they had actors acting like they're just like shopping themselves.
I mean, because he got fame from a very young age, so he probably never grocery shopped
yeah,
in his life.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. That's gonna be you.
You know what? I love that for him. He's open to try new experiences.
Yeah, was open.
Was open to try new
Yeah.
experiences. In my mind, he's still alive.
Yeah. Well, on that note, it's the last of my cards and last bit of time we have before we have to rush you off to this gig. Before you go, I did want to give you something. As we talked about before, you are the Banana Buddha, the Banana Queen herself.
Did you make a
And
shrine for me?
not yet, but I got you something for your shrine. Because all these gigs you go to, I noticed a lot of people are giving you bananas. And I know bananas don't have a long shelf life, and it's hard to carry them places. So I wanted to get you this banana holder so you can store your bananas in and carry them with you on your travels.
This is so fierce.
Yeah, it's got little hooks. You can hang it on your bag. Is that a real Coach bag? Banana Coach bag?
This is.
Yeah. You can just hook it on there.
Thank you. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Because someone will inevitably bring you a banana tonight, as they
You
do
you are
everywhere.
so thoughtful.
I try.
You know what I realized? People have given me less and less banana as I move more and more away from the show. As time has what I mean is as time has gone by, I feel less and less a public figure because people give me less bananas now.
That's like the sign. Like the sign of like your popularity is like the number of bananas people give you.
Truly.
Yeah. So if you're out there and no one has ever given you a banana, you ain't shit.
Exactly.
And on the inverse, if people keep randomly giving you bananas, you somebody. So where can people find you? What do you have coming up in this? Do you have any like tours or special dates or any projects or anything coming up?
I do. I have a special project for Pride in June in New York at Town Hall. I have this one woman show that I'm gonna be producing and starring, and look out for that. Hopefully, I do a good job if I manage to think out everything and do everything in time.
Yeah.
And I have a tour with a special someone at the end of the year, so maybe look out for that.
Yeah. Nothing we can announce yet.
Yeah. But very exciting. This year is all about doing bigger shows because I also have a bigger show in Taiwan too. So
It's like this past year was a lot more about quantity.
Yeah.
Like just all the bookings, travel everywhere you can, but now we're focusing more on quality.
mama.
Yeah. So if you went to any of her shows last year, you're like, that sucked. She didn't do anything. Rest
Honestly-
assured, this next year, she's actually pulling out the stops.
You know what was so funny? By the start of the year, I was doing cartwheels, flips, splits, everything you could think of. By the end of the year, I was walking. I could barely do anything. I couldn't even do a cartwheel. So thank you for coming out to see me. I really appreciate it.
in her decrepit, falling apart state.
No, for real.
Yeah. Well, and all your socials are the same, Nymphia Wind. Well, like it's like 66 Nymphia
66 Win 99.
Win 99. Yeah.
Do you know why it's 6699?
66 or 69, 69?
No.
Oh, no.
Because when you draw win, you draw 6 like a,
Oh, I thought it was like a 69 joke.
and then the 9 was like shoo, shoo.
I did not know that.
That's why it's 6699.
Oh, well, well, you know.
Now you know. You heard it here first.
Well, that's where people can find you, and you guys can find me right here. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any future guests. And join us next time because we are going to have somebody else. But yeah, till then.
Someone less yellow.
Till then. Bye, guys.
Let's go.
Is that okay, Daddy?